welcome to Changing Our Reality. My name is Rick Freeman, and this podcast is about how we face different challenges in life. Now, I've taken the whole summer off. I've been recovering through a lot of different challenges, let's say that. If you look at my last little video, I think it was a reel. I had a TPN, a bag. I was getting IV nutrition. I was down to 99 pounds. So I'm up to almost 115 pounds right now. So things are going well, but I found that with a lot of this gaining weight and forcing myself to eat, I've learned another thing is that food is absorbing in my body. Where we thought that was one of my problems, but food is absorbing in. So I have to really force myself to eat because I kind of lost my appetite for other different vascular reasons. And so I have to eat. I wasn't eating, and that's where I lost my weight. And when I started to eat and gain the weight back, my stomach got all screwed up again. I have Crohn's disease. I've had many surgeries, and my Crohn's acted up again. I don't know if it's the inflammation. Pretty sure there's no active disease. I think it's just I've had 6 surgeries and I have scar tissue that's always building up and little narrowings and the problems that have been going on since 1990. So that problem goes on and I'm eating. And so I kind of want to get into, should I just not eat as much anymore and my stomach will be better? But I really have to keep eating. And I'm actually enjoying the food. I'm enjoying eating again. Let's say that. When I was originally trying to think of a title for this episode, it hit me hard. It was Death, Dying, Dead. And then I thought it was, okay, let's go to beginning, middle, and an end. And that's what I've learned from this as a patient of Deepak Chopra in this perfect health program. They were teaching me everything has a beginning, middle, and an end. And with every ending, there's a new beginning. Depending on the choices that we make, anything is possible. So I took that even a little deeper. Now to make sure that you understand, it was like 10 days after I started my TPN journey and my IV nutrition at home, one of my best friends died. He passed away. He's been suffering from cancer for, I think, 5 years. So I was dealing with his death. And then I'm also going with the thoughts in my head. I went to the hospital on this TPN to start the nutrition, and I was going towards my death if I didn't get on this TPN. And that's what I'm headed towards. So I started to think, why did I get on this TPN? I have another friend, Ernie, he has a brain tumor. He's probably, he'll be lucky to make it a year. So everything has a beginning, middle, and an end. And the part is that I talked about is with the choices you make, anything is possible. Now that's not always true. If you're in the situation with my friends who had cancer and have cancer and me with my aortic dissection, I can do the best I can, or they can do the best they can, but they're going to have their ending. And hopefully with that ending, there's going to be a new beginning. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but hopefully there is. So I started to look at, does the Grand Canyon have a beginning, middle, and end? I had to go ask ChatGPT. The Grand Canyon has a beginning. It started out as a river or a creek. It built these canyon walls, and I think it was over hundreds of millions of years. And the ending, it predicts, could happen a couple different ways. One, it could be flooded again and the whole world become an ocean, another over time erosion, the canyon walls might fall down. Now, this might be another 100 million years that we're not talking about soon, but it will have an ending. My example is when my dog passed away, and she was my best friend in the world. And we went out to the backyard. I would take her first thing in the morning. At the afternoons, we'd just hang out in the backyard, and it was our place. But she didn't like to let any other animals in there. She would chase the squirrels, the rabbits, everything else would not be allowed in the yard. Melody passed away, and I did not want to go in the backyard again. It took me at least a year, and I finally decided to get some bird food. So it was outdoor animal food. And I threw it out in the backyard. And I started to first throw it on the walkway in the yard. And I'd see the animals, mostly squirrels, come down, chipmunks, and the birds would fly down. There would be bluebirds and the different kind of birds. I learned the finches, and then the cardinals would come in. And it was just started to be a fun experience. A groundhog, he's one of my favorite. He looks like a little brown bear as he waddles away. But it became a new, exciting experience. I had an ending, and depending on the choices I made, I created a nice beginning that I still enjoy to this day. So everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And depending on the choices you make, anything is possible. Now, getting back to the next part, I'm having my nutrition, and I'm dealing with everything that's going on. I'm learning that I'm going to the doctor after doctor after doctor, and they're all telling me everything is stable for now. Everything's stable, and there's not much they can do. So my next choice is, for me, it's been, again, I've had Crohn's most of my life, so all these surgeries, I have seizures and all these other problems. My eye was poked out with a stick. But all these problems, I've decided that I'm going to change my advanced directive to, I do not want anything done. I can't even get CPR, because if they did, I have an aortic dissection. If you understand the aortic dissection, if they tried to give me CPR, that would just burst an artery. So I would die then. And then if I had a surgery, which I would need after that, I don't want another surgery. Again, I've had enough surgeries. I don't need any more. So I've chosen to come to my end. And I hope that makes sense. And I don't even know how I'll feel, in a little bit. But right now, this is what I'm choosing. Because there's nothing else for me. And I'm learning, when you're passing away, when you have a terminal illness, you're going to die soon, it's a lot easier when you have money. I don't say it's easy in any way, but it's just a lot easier on a person. And I don't have any money. And that's maybe why that's not the right choice for me. And I'm going to have to, it's been a summer of contemplation. I've been contemplating on all sorts of things, and this was one of them. Now, what I want to get into is meditation, what it did for me. Now, meditation, I used to be able to sit there before my aortic dissection, and it was 30 minutes a day, twice a day. And when you meditate, don't think you're getting into this whole disappearing act of going into yourself. I pick my breath or a mantra that I say, a few words that I say over and over again. And I'll say it over and over again, but my mind's going to wander. Sooner, when I was a little better, it might wander after 10, 15 seconds. But you become aware of your mind wandering, and you can let that thought go. You can let it finish up. But sooner or later, you make that choice to go back to your focal point, your breath, your mantra. And sooner or later, your mind's going to wander again. And if we're doing this for 30 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes we'll be falling into this restful gap, restful awareness, where your blood pressure is going to go down, your heart rate's going to lower, your immune system is going to go up, and you're going to just feel a lot better, much better than when you're worrying about things. Let's just put it that way. And that's a little escape. And that's what I've been learning as my dissection goes on. I couldn't do it anymore. It would be like 1 or 2 breaths and my mind's wandering. And now I build back up. But what I've learned most of all with this meditation is that no matter how crazy and hectic you get, you can just stop for one breath, one breath, but 10 seconds, 3 breaths, and relax. If you're saying a mantra, if you're just focusing on your breath, you can escape whatever is going on. If you're in the hospital, if you're just... My first experience in the grocery store after my aortic dissection, it was Christmas. It was before COVID. It was the holiday season. The line was piled up out the door, and I was just having an anxiety attack. I wanted out. But that's when I decided I went into a meditation, held on to the grocery cart and went into my meditation. And that's where I learned things work. And now that goes back to when I first got certified as a perfect health instructor. It was construction at the Chopra Center. And we were doing hour-long meditations twice a day. And in the morning, they had jackhammers. They were building a new fountain. So they would have jackhammers. They were jackhammered. And we thought we weren't going to be able to do it, or the teacher wouldn't be able to. It was Roger Gabriel, who was a lead meditator, instructor at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing. And we thought we would get out of the hour-long meditation because this jackhammers, it was looking out a window, we could see the people's feet in the bottom of the jackhammer hitting the cement. What Roger said is no, you just keep going, and when your mind wanders, just go back and keep doing this again. And that's where I learned awareness, choice, change. Awareness, choice, change. I hope that makes sense.